I like the fact that things can sound from different genres or different eras, but they work together. That's the beauty of it. I think that's one of the joys of I don't know, digging or packing your bag or having a record collection. All of that is kind of nice, that you can bring everything together in one moment now, and it's relevant.
So you just sort of diverting our conversation a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, we've ended up chatting there.
You helped my friend Valentina
Ah, yes,
to get to Miki,
yes.
who's a Italian DJ. What's your connection with Italy? I think you lived over there for a while, didn't you?
I
Maybe you
did.
still do. I don't know.
No. I'm in London now. Well, my connection, I think. Well, I can just give you a chronology, really. I think for many years I was collecting and going back and listening to Italian Deep House. So, like, maybe 91 to 94, 95, something like that. And then at some point, I bought a record, maybe about 15 years ago, by Steve Mantovani on a label called Interactive Test. And that opened the door to me of all of this kind of really wonky progressive sort of I don't know, kind of post-hardcore rave, post-rave, going into house, going into what became progressive. So music from 91 to say 96, 95, really, 91 to 95, all on this label. And I started really, really digging, finding out more. And one of the main producers on that label was Miki. So I discovered it, and then I discovered that somebody, a guy I actually know now, a young guy really, a big fan of Mickey's, was then uploading, digitizing tapes from Mickey's career and Mickey's contemporaries. So then I discovered that Mickey was playing with a DJ now departed called Robbie J and Francesco Farfa when he was super young. That's how he started. All in the sort of Tuscany area because they were all from Florence. So
The sound of Tironi, basically,
yeah,
isn't
well, they
it?
play or Torreno. It was like
Tirreno,
that.
sorry.
Yeah, so they were. So this was like all based on the kind of Tuscan and the over to the coast. So yeah, I started. So this went on for a good, a good few years that I was digging. And at this point, you could pick up those records for pennies. Nobody was really interested in that era. So I got slightly obsessed with it, as I do about certain things. And then around 2017, I started a residency at the Pickle Factory in London, and the format for that is I would basically just completely take over the night as a concept and have a theme for the night. So that theme was generally around either me playing back to back with somebody or me bringing over somebody that nobody else was booking, and we had like visuals and light installation and all kinds of things. So it would just be like my night in the club, how I'd want it. And one of the people I thought I'd book was Miki. And at this point, I didn't know if he was playing or not anymore. I had loads of old mixes of him, and then I found like the odd thing of him playing in the early 2000s, but after 2010 I couldn't really find anything, and I was like, gosh, shit, what are we going to do? And so I spoke to Toby the booker at Pickle, and we spoke about it, and he's like, no, we'll try and get him if you really want him. And I had no idea of any contemporary mixing that he'd done or anything, but I was desperate to get him over. And in the end, Toby found him, and they got him over, and we brought him over, and that was it. Me and Mickey had this like instant bond, and we found out I'd booked him, and it was actually his birthday. So we brought him to London on his birthday. He didn't tell us until we got there, so that was pretty nice. It was a super nice thing. And then we played this party, and I opened for him, and then he played like 3 hours, and then we played back to back, and it was amazing. I was just like, I can't believe it. He was, like sometimes when you think of these old kind of DJs, and you're like, they're in your mind, you have an idea of what they're going to sound like, and then you hear them now and they're like appalling. They're like,
Yeah.
playing. So that happens a lot. But with Mickey it didn't. He played almost identical to what he was playing in '95 or something like that, or mixes I'd heard online, and it just blew my mind. And he came over with like a bunch of Italians as well, so it was like a proper vibe in there. It was like really, really cool. There's some nice videos, you can find them on YouTube actually, of that night. So obviously after that, that was, and I think that was like Mickey's first kind of real sort of, I don't know, contemporary club gig in a while, you know. And that was it. We just became friends after that. So, and then I moved. I ended up my wife, my ex-wife actually, but my wife wanted to go during the pandemic. Had enough of London and wanted to go back to college, and so she went back to this like a kind of historical school in Florence, and we ended up moving to Florence during the pandemic, which actually was a bit of a nightmare because I couldn't get a visa despite being married to an Italian, so that was a bit of a pain. That's why we ended up coming back. But at the time, yeah, Mickey was living there too, so we were just hanging out in Florence all the time. So yeah, he became like a really, really close friend, and subsequently we were doing things. We've done a few back-to-backs in different places. Yeah, and so we're in contact, and yeah, I think we'll see each other soon at Sonar. So yeah, it was just a really nice thing of like meeting one of your influences, one of your heroes, and then them turning out to be amazing, you know, and better in real life than you could have even imagined, because he's an absolute sweetheart, just to love. And I also felt that Mickey never really got the props that he deserved at the time. So like Robbie J passed away, so nothing happened with his career, and Francesco Farfur kind of went off on a slightly more, I don't know,
Trancy, I suppose, wasn't
yeah,
he?
but more kind of commercial, I think, like a vibe at some point. Although he's kind of come back to it again now. So it was just, you know, and Mickey's just, I don't know, I just think he's not super ambitious and just really nice. And I just don't think, you know, some people just get overlooked at times. And I was like, how could this be? He's made some of the most inspiring, psychedelic, really imaginative records, crazy records, really. Why does nobody know these people? You know, and then obviously subsequently over the past few years they've become a bit more popular. I know that Mickey kind of has got involved with Seekers from Alex Piccioni's label and stuff, and has done a lot of their parties. But I still don't think he gets the props he deserves, and I think that's actually because he's just so nice. You know, some people, they're just so nice, they don't want to push or whatever. But he, you know, Mickey definitely getting. He's kind of had his revival now, and he's back sort of DJing quite often, and he's made new records and stuff. So I think it's really nice that maybe I was a part of that. I don't know, that just bringing something from the past that was really important to me and back in this really contemporary way. So that's the story of how me and Mickey became really good friends.
How did you